Hey guys, if you've noticed my coffee stained shirt, please ignore it. And if you noticed it the last two videos as well, please ignore that too. Because I'm filming all these videos on the one day because I'm trying for a better optimized YouTube schedule, I suppose. But welcome to today's video about video games that inspired me to make a game. I thought I would make this a little series because there is a lot of games that I really love that inspired me to actually make a game myself. And I thought I would talk about my favorites, but I thought each time I come across a new game that gives me more inspiration, I thought I could just add it to the list as well. So I'll probably start a new little playlist with this theme specifically in it. So the game I wanted to talk about today, as I'm sure you can tell by like the title and stuff, is Final Fantasy IX. So I really adore Final Fantasy IX. It appeals to me in a way that very few games appeal to me. I think because when I was a kid, one of my first experiences with Final Fantasy series was the Crystal Chronicles games. And I find that kind of chibi cuteness, but also the whimsy that those games give are like second to none. So I thought I would talk about some of the different varying aspects of the game that inspired me to make a game, but also that inspire my game, I guess. First such thing is that, as with a lot of games of its time, its constraints make it better and a more special experience. I think when video games first started becoming big and when technology started becoming better, we were really in a time where basically companies were trying to optimize what they could do and do the next big thing, but while accounting for a low amount of memory and a low amount of CPU power. And it's funny how some of the constraints in games make things feel more whimsical. Now, it could be just pure nostalgia or something, but I really love a good pre-rendered background. I think the pre-rendered backgrounds of Final Fantasy IX are magical and they feel more like a storybook setting than anything, and it just really adds to the game. And now they had pre-rendered backgrounds, but they also had pre-rendered backgrounds with more fleshed out character models than we'd seen in, say, Final Fantasy VII, where they looked a little bit like funky Lego boys. Another thing that I really like about a lot of games from that time, but Final Fantasy IX in particular is that in-game cutscenes are a much bigger thing. So you'll see cutscenes within the engine of the game kind of happening in front of you as you interact with things, rather than you are taken away to some beautiful CGI cutscene. Now, it does happen a couple of points in the game, but only for the really big moments, and everything aside that just has these little beautiful moments that build up a bigger story, and it just attracts you more to all of the characters and makes you feel closer to the world, knowing that you're not being taken away from this immersion like every now and again to go watch a 20-minute cutscene or some bullshit like that. One of the main things that I really loved about Final Fantasy IX, though, that feels really special, is that all of the party members feel like a main character. Well, most of them. Let's be real. Like Quina and that dude that throws things. While I understand that probably some people love them, they feel a little slightly less like main characters. They don't feel like they have their own big things so much. But aside them, maybe that was a controversial opinion, I don't know. But aside them, each character really feels like they have a really important part of the main story. Like, they really feel like they have their own things going on, their own lives, like, and all of their motivations kind of work together, even if they don't always want them to. Like Steiner, I feel like, is always just reluctantly along for the ride. Vivi is like strangely honored by Steiner, but also along for this same journey, but he's also kind of finding out who he is. And I feel like a lot of the Final Fantasy games do this, where the main character is not always super important at the very start. It takes a while for Zidane to actually feel important. And it's not ever that he's not likable. Zidane is always a likable person. It's just that he always just feels like, I get along with everyone and I just go about my life kind of guy. And it's kind of funny because later on, it's like he has this whole background that doesn't feel like it matches that same kind of character. Another thing I love about this game is that the whole thing just has the feeling of reading a storybook. Again, with the pre-rendered backgrounds, it's beautiful, but it's just one of those games where you're playing through it and it just has that essence of whimsy to it that a lot of fantasy games kind of skip out on. You know, a lot of fantasy games are trying to be very Tolkien-esque, but in truth, it's nice to have fantasy games that sometimes try to do something that feels, while also serious, a little bit silly and fun and interesting, the way like storybooks would read when we were children. And it's really nice to get brought along on those kind of silly, whimsical little adventures, even if they have a bigger, more important story to tell. In fact, sometimes I feel like I want to be brought along on those silly, whimsical adventures to be told those stories, you know? Sometimes you need to deliver an important message via something that feels like a lovely little journey, which is kind of what I'm aiming to do with my own game. So that is why Final Fantasy IX is one of my bigger influences in wanting to create a video game, and particularly a JRPG. And if you haven't played it yet, you should. And if you're playing it on PC, you should get the Moguri mod because it makes everything really extra super beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. Please do give a thumbs up and a comment and a subscribe and whatnot if you enjoyed this video. It is much appreciated, and hopefully I will see you again soon.